Austin and Ellio do not necessarily reflect or represent the views of Stingray Media, its staff, or contributors. Callers to the program accept full responsibility for the views expressed. The show host and affiliates are not liable for any statements made or any harm claimed. All callers to the program indemnify Straight Talk from all claims. Offensive, defamatory, or unlawful content will not be tolerated. Be a part of the conversation by calling 745-2626. Now, here's Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio on Bobo 103.1.
And hello, K-Man, and good God, I sound terrible.
Yeah, boy. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Straight Talk with your two favorite talk show hosts. I think the first one, what is that guy's name anyway? Austin Harris.
That's the one.
And myself, Ellio Solomon. I don't know what this guy has been doing with his throat,
Oh, my God.
Busy weekend, it seems, I guess.
Guess so. You know what? I haven't quite heard myself until I listened to me in the headphones. And my God, I've
then I heard
like
myself
this all day long today. I sound terrible. You might have to do the heavy lifting today, buddy.
I like that ronca boss. Hey, Dime. Yeah, we get one of those. Well, okay. Let me pull it back.
Oh, my God.
Anyway, yeah, it can have its assets. So, how was your day today, Mr. Harris?
It was a good day today.
Productive.
Got some rain today, a continuation from yesterday.
Lord, it's always the weather with you.
It's always the weather.
Actually, I came out, I think it was, it was the weekend, so it's blurred for me. But last night, I think it was, I stepped out of the door, I said, did it rain?
Yeah, it rained all.
And I felt almost inclined to give Austin a call. Like, is it raining where you are?
Well, I was thinking of you on Sunday when it rained all afternoon long. I thought, boy, I hope my friend's getting a nap right about now.
I don't know what I did on Sunday. I think I did a bit of work. I mean, I'm not sure. Honestly, it's like I just work all the time. I can't keep track of it.
Clearly not.
But I do get sufficient rest just in case there's that one person out there that's, concerned that I might not be getting enough rest.
Yeah.
So tell us now on the, I hope your voice can hold up on the good news because I'm not on that side, Mr. Harris, so I can't see your
Yeah,
monitor.
no kidding. Well, we do have some good news. And again, I apologize to the listening audience. Just hearing myself for the first time today in my headphones and wow, do I sound terrible. My God, who's this guy on the radio? Someone should tell him he does not have a radio voice.
He always used to say you don't have the face for radio. Now you're saying you have the voice.
Now I don't have the voice for radio.
That's taking up space in here.
Clearly, you got to fire me, man. You got to find a replacement quick.
No way.
Time for me to get rolled over.
We'll give it some time.
Well, apologies to the listening audience. And yes, losing my voice slowly today. I'm going to have to definitely count on my colleague to do a lot of the heavy lifting. Hoping to be better at least by Wednesday because we have another
that's right.
powerhouse guest in studios, but I'll wait and allow my colleague to share the good news part of that. But first, starting with the weather, rainy weekend, particularly on Sunday, with a little bit more continuing today, more so in the afternoon. Forecast today calls for light winds and slight seas over the Cayman Islands for the next 24 hours. While we take a look further east, a tropical wave currently over the central Caribbean is expected to support cloudy skies and showers with some more thunderstorms as of tomorrow morning. So definitely your day to pack an umbrella. Tonight we can expect partly cloudy skies, high temperature expected to reach a high of 82 degrees. Winds will be out of the east to northeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight, with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Starting us off on the good news category, got to say a great big congratulations to all of our English persons. I won't even say just English football fans. Last week, of course, we learned the difference between being English versus
British.
being from British.
This is correct.
The difference between Irish and Scottish, and where they all fall into the UK. For those of you who are regular avid listeners, you will certainly be aware of last week's, I think you call it, geography lesson that was once again shared by my colleague. But congrats to England, who won their third successive match and defeated Spain on Sunday in the UEFA Women's Euro 2025 final, winning in penalties 3-1. Now, anybody had a chance to watch the game, might be one of the reasons why I'm losing my voice. The game was scoreless after 120 minutes. That includes 90 minutes of regular play and a further 30 minutes of extra time.
Oh, wow.
And despite several thrilling opportunities on both sides, but I got to give it up to England, and in particular, their impressive midfield. But all of that play was for naught. The game went down into penalties at the 120th minute, and England securing a win with 3-1, and, of course, securing with it the UEFA Women's Euro 2025 Cup. So to all of our English football fans, but also persons from England, congratulations is in order. Staying with the ladies for a moment, this year, for the first time in history, the International Scuba Diving Hall of Fame will honor an all-female group of inductees. A gala dinner and induction ceremony is set to take place on the 20th of September at the Hotel Indigo in Grand Cayman. I wonder if it's going to be held at Pom Pom. Pom Pom.
Pom Pom at the Indigo.
It will celebrate contributions to scuba diving.
Careful, you hurt your throat now.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
Need some soothing honey in my tea.
Yeah. There's a ginger tea out there. I think
like that timing. Yeah, that's what I'm having. Lemon, honey, and ginger.
Oh, okay.
The International Scuba Diving Hall of Fame will celebrate contributions to scuba diving across the dive industry, equipment design, and safety and conservation. Among those women to be inducted include Miss Anne Hassan of the United States, who launched the Cayman Aggressor Fleet here back in 1984, and she's being recognized for advancing sustainable dive tourism globally. Also on the list, Michelle Cove, interesting last name, of the Bahamas, who founded Stewart's Cove Dive in the Bahamas and helped establish the Bahamas Shark Sanctuary back in 2011. One of the popular locations in the Bahamas, I think, in that dive site is Tiger Beach, which is a dive site known for its large congregation of tiger sharks swimming with divers. And, of course, again, Michelle Cove had a lot to do with, creating that shark sanctuary for all to gain a better knowledge of sharks outside of the notorious movie Jaws, which really painted sharks in a very negative light. Also on the list, Simone Cousteau of France, who co-invented the aqualung and also became the first female aquanaut in 1963, will be inducted in the Hall of Fame as an early pioneer. The Scuba Diving Hall of Fame was founded in 2000 by the Cayman Islands Ministry of Tourism, and the Hall of Fame has honored so far more than 140 pioneers who have shaped recreational scuba diving through innovations in dive tourism, equipment design, safety, inclusivity, and exploration. Tickets are available for the event, which again will be taking place at Hotel Indigo on September 20th. You can find more details of that online. Last but not least, as we know, summer is synonymous with summer camps, and the Multi-Agency Safeguarding Hub, or MASH, together with various other government ministries, departments, and nonprofit stakeholders, have announced a program of events aimed at promoting positive youth mental health across the Cayman Islands during the summer holidays. Launched on June 30th, the Summer Seas campaign supports key mental health events available throughout the summer and links it to the needs of young people, according to a press release from the MASH unit. The campaign also connects. What are you laughing about?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I know I'm struggling. I'm just trying to get through it, buddy. And then I'm gonna leave all the heavy lifting to you.
I'll give you something to laugh about. Someone text.
Say it.
They said, with that hoarse voice of Austin now, he can sing a song. What a wonderful world.
A little Louis Armstrong.
What a wonderful world.
I can't even pull it off.
I couldn't resist.
No,
I was singing for you, but don't worry.
I'm sure you will. I appreciate it. And thank you to the listener for I can feel the love. I really can. I can feel the love. Well, we know that, mental health in the Cayman Islands has been a big concern. And we certainly want to encourage folks to come out and support the Summer Seas campaign. I do have a caller on the line.
Going straight to the phone lines.
Good evening, caller. You're on the air.
Good evening, Ellio, Austin, voice song, a little horse. Why he don't turn the show over to you? Because the more he talk, the hoarser he can get.
That's a
But
good
listen,
point.
I just want to give my little remedy. One time I lose my voice, and he not there yet, but get ginger, the ginger, the fresh ginger.
Yes, ma'am.
And just scrape it a little bit, because if you scrape it too much, it can get too strong and I'll be able to drink it. But just scrape, a little bit of the thing off it and wash it.
Yes, ma'am.
And put it in milk and leave it for a while and drink it. And you gonna see the difference. Because one time I was mimicking, you couldn't, only see my mouth moving, you couldn't hear a song. And somebody told me that ginger with milk, the regular bottle of milk, if you can drink milk,
Yeah.
and put it in there.
Okay.
And drink it, and
All right.
you can tell me a difference.
All
I
right.
lose my voice completely. And about 3 different people told it to me after the first person I tell it to me, but I had done try it. And I told it to somebody, and it works for both of us. I don't know, because they say different strokes for different folks, but if it don't do you no good, it never do you no harm. So try it. And
All
see
right.
what
I
happens.
will. Well, I trust you, so, and I know you only have my best interest at heart, unlike my friend over here.
I don't, ginger is strong, and it's the fresh ginger, so just scrape a little bit of the skin.
Yes, ma'am.
And put it in some milk and leave it for a little bit and then drink it. I thought I wasn't going to be able to drink it because I eat ginger cakes and stuff, but I don't like ginger beer and, like that because to me it's too strong. And I thought I wasn't going to be able to make it, but you can be hard to taste it.
Okay.
And it did me good, so I would just think I would share that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your
And I say you guys heard about these accidents. Now, they're so terrible. I know everyone that's so sad about that poor little boy that works in the public transport booth. I don't know who he is. I don't know if he's Caymanian or where he's from. I don't know whether he got brothers or sisters, but I know, or children, but I know he's somebody's son.
Yes.
That's so sad, little motorbike. And then the other ones, well, I don't know them, but I know the guy that would drive, and I know his fiance back in Honduras, and then his brother, I understand, was with him, and the girl, but they're lucky. These Honda Fit, they call them unfit. They need to keep them off of the road, because boy, that man shot, and they're lucky. But the girl, I saw her in the hospital. A friend showed me a picture and everything. And the picture, she just had a birthday. She was up in the Adventist church on Saturday and sang happy birthday for her. But she not got no broken bones, but she bruised up and pain up. But they say the boy is critical.
Yeah.
So whatever happened about that accident up there in Breakers where that car was like split in two or whatever the world it was? Do you know?
Well, I hear that guy walked away from that. They say that they found him afterward. They say he walked out because somebody was saying I'd heard about that, and I say, well, did the person get hurt? And they say no, he apparently he left because he must have been a drunk. I don't know, and that's just the story I heard. And then they say they found him afterward, but nothing wasn't to him, so he was lucky.
Yeah, it's pretty weird, but they say a lot of times if the person is drunk, they move with all the movements of the car, and they normally stand a better chance than the persons who aren't, which is not necessarily good to talk about. What's the accident about the motorbike?
The motorbike is a little guy. I don't know what happened. I saw the railway he hit when we were going on. They were fixing it on the Linford-Pearson Highway this morning, but I don't know what happened to him. Because that happened, they said, early this morning. And then the other one, that guy get killed, that happened somewhere in Savannah. Because when the girl that helps with my husband came this morning, she said, the shall be a bad accident. last night, and I say, she said, right, okay, for one, and I say, well, then about it, but she didn't know, because she said that, and I asked her, I say, was it a Honda Fit? Because right away I figure that's what it was, because them cars are terrible, and I called them the unfit, the came on national anthem, but boy, there's something coming. My daughter came and she said, gee, mommy, they got plenty of them on this road. When did we want to bypass? And we saw 8 in one line, and I said, yeah, but, she said, but in a way, they're small, but they're better for this island, because these big old vehicles, you can't hardly find a way to park. The island gets so congested, so they're easy for parking, but she said, I don't like them.
Well, it definitely seems like a lot of the crazy drivers, for want of a better expression, tends to be driving these Honda Fits.
This is it, because when we rent the car, they're going to give us one. We say, we don't want them. And then they start calling them the unfit, and in Jamaica, they call them the mothers, but we didn't want that. We get a Hyundai. Because they always be, and then they nail it. And I don't know, they say that what happened is this guy, they hit a pole. They hit a pole. And Joanne showed me the picture, and I mean that car mashed up. But I asked her, but she said she didn't know what type of car it was, because then I see, but and she said they didn't see no ambulance or nobody like that. There was the police and the fireman still. That's what it must have been. I done charge a person if they, were hurt, but he dead. He's a little care-up guy.
Yeah. Well, I'll probably give you a nosebleed with this question, but let me ask you anyway. I was on my way to East End last night, as I do from time to time, at least one trek every day. And we had to pretty much come to a complete stop because the car, I don't think it was a Honda Fit, but it definitely looked like one. And we had to pretty much come to a stop in order for them to overtake without hitting the cars that were coming. And I was saying that despite the fact that you have so many accidents on the road, so many deaths, it doesn't seem to be deterring these people from driving like lunatics. What do you think about that?
That what? Why no catch that coming?
Yeah, I said even though people are getting in accidents every day, and some people are even dying, it doesn't seem to be stopping these people from driving like lunatics.
Well, I know, because the same thing happened to my son out there the other day too. Well, this is it. I don't know. And then when we came out today, that we went into Foster's and coming out, we almost got an accident. One stupid person that doing food in it. That would have been like a 4-car collision. I don't know what it is. Then why I don't understand? Some of these people be driving right up in your tail end. If you got to stop sudden, then they got hit, and then sometimes when it's the traffic factor like that, that's how you get so much impact, because they hit us, then we hit somebody else, then somebody else hit the next person, and then they be honking at you. Where they expect it to go? They expect it to turn to General Lee and fly up in the air. You have to wait on other cars. Sometimes if you stop to come out, and other cars got a right away, they get behind you honking and showing you the stick-up finger and hollering. I tell you, they're crazy. They look like like they say, haste make waste, and with some on BOing. The time that when the guy hit us, woman hit us the morning in the little, we call her the plucker, that one of them little, I forget what it was, that we had from Car City. But she coming out of Prospect. We coming up. She was hurrying to go down to carry her daughter to school, and she hit us and almost kill us, and then she still never got no way, and she could have killed her daughter, and she won one of them big Expedition, which is a big hell of a car. And we in this little mini, we call it.
Right.
And then she still didn't get no way, and I was to kill her. I tell her, I said, listen, haste make waste. You could have killed your own child, and it wasn't better for her to get late for school or you get late for work than go to hell.
Yeah.
Well, and we had the right away, so why you showed out on top of us?
Agreed. I don't know where they're going, to be quite honest.
That's why when I go out there, I say 3 prayers, and I say, Lord, help me get back one piece. And if you see me out there, it's something I got to do. Because that's what I was just telling the girl sometime on Sunday, I'd be so bored up there. And, you always just take a little spin, a little drive, but I even afraid to do that anymore. I prefer to stay up there. If they can kill me, well, I can't say that neither. But because I have to go out on the road to do stuff, when pay bills and collect when the turtle shit or whatever. I don't have nobody else to do it. But other than that, I don't have to go to nothing. If they can, I say they have come out and kill me. I'm a road runner, I'm a beat road. Because when I go, people will be like, boy, I don't see you so long. And were you on island or you went off? I say, I be at my bushman in my business. They say, what my mama said, coward man keeps on bones.
Yeah. Well, caller, thank you very much for your contribution to the program today, and I'm pretty sure that Austin appreciates the remedy there with the ginger and the milk.
I can tell him about it. Just get the ginger, the fresh ginger, and just scrape it a little bit, then wash it off.
Okay.
Add a glass of milk, and just put it down in milk, and cover the top of it, and leave it a little while, and drink it.
Okay.
And see what happens.
Thank you so much. I do
You can
appreciate
do it more than once.
Okay. I will.
Okay.
I'll give it a try.
Right.
All right. And I did have someone texting in saying, I religiously follow the speed limit here in Cayman, but being on the road for most times than in the office, I see a lot of drivers overspeeding, mostly all the time. I think 80% of the motorists are overspeeding, especially at highways. It's about time that the traffic enforcers will enforce firm penalties to at least lessen the fatalities or the accidents. All right, well, I can only tell you, I really don't know. Because I was saying this last night as I was going to East End with one of my workers. I said to myself, this guy or this person, whoever was driving this vehicle that overtook us, maybe I would say ended up just getting back in lane maybe about 30 feet from the other car. Mm-hmm. And it's only because we're putting on brakes like we're parked at home.
Right.
Right. And I just really, it just befuddles me. I cannot understand the mindset.
Yeah.
Like all of these accidents and the fatalities, it's like some hero still thinks that, not me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, all I can say is you kill him, we chill him. I mean, if you can kill yourself, I mean, I'm pretty sure we're man enough to bury you.
Yeah, no kidding. I was on the road this weekend, and ironically enough, I was commenting to my son who was with me, and we were crossed by a number of Honda Fits, and, you know, I was doing 45.
He's on the Fits getting a bad knee, man.
But they crossed me like I was standing still.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
there's a spirit in them Fits.
Listen, all I can say is my heart goes out to the life that was lost this morning on our roadways. I think the fatality was the Honda Fit driver who I'm told was a single vehicle accident. He ran into a mango tree there on Shamrock Road heading towards Hearst Road. I didn't see the accident or even the location myself, but that's what that's what I hear. Mm-hmm. But there was also a second accident that occurred on the Linford-Pearson Highway, which was the motorcycle accident that the lady was also referring to. So obviously our heart and prayers go out to the families of those affected. But to the caller's point, you know, at some point in time, we have to start exercising responsibility for ourselves. Speed, without a doubt, was a factor in both crashes. And again, I hate to harp on it, but there's never a cop around when you need one. You know, never.
Well, it's just the way it is. I mean, like I said, I'm happy to beat the police up about certain things. I just don't really know what the solution to that is. I mean, I guess you just can't be everywhere. And yeah, you would like to know. There's a lot of times I sit there, now's the time for a police. But yeah, you never seem to see one. But I don't know how to really attribute the blame to them. All I can say is the craziness is, I don't know, it's just really out of control. And I really want to know what these persons are doing. And the sad part is that, you know, you can have somebody driving like a lunatic. It's especially in my mind, when you're going to end up that they cause the death of innocent people. You know, someone either who's just walking on the road, following the rules, or a family out driving, and the list, you know, that to me is going to be the real heartbreaker, you know. Yeah. And I know we go through the rituals of God bless this and God bless that, but I'm sorry, you know, flying past me at 100 and something miles an hour on a road that's built to accommodate 50. I don't know. It doesn't muster up muching me, Austin.
No, not at all.
I'm like, no, I think you were kind of asking for that. Quite sorry about that.
No, indeed. Well, staying with the good news category before we move into the 5 o'clock hour, why don't you tell our listeners what we got planned for them this week?
Oh, yeah. So I want to let persons know that carrying on with the candidate forums, again, we're working to try to make sure that we can give voice to some of our fallen soldiers, if you like, persons that reached out during the campaign, took tremendous sacrifices, a lot of risk to be able to offer themselves up for service. Is something that Austin and I know very well. We have a lot of respect for anyone who does that, whether they're victorious or whether they're not. And For those persons who were unsuccessful, we want to be able to give them a voice, and we're going one candidate at a time. Most likely it'll be like every Wednesday for the next several weeks going up, trying to get some of these candidates on here, if they're willing to come on, tell their story. What were some of the challenges? What were some of the experiences? What did they learn? And perhaps equal, if not more important, where are they going from here? So it's going to be some interesting discussions. We just had on the program last week, Wednesday, Miss Crystal Gomez, who could have very well been a minister herself. But following up, we're going to be having none other than Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks coming up this Wednesday. He's agreed to come on. We appreciate that. So he should be here this Wednesday in the studio at 5 o'clock. So we want to encourage you to listen into that. And of course, sharing is caring. So tell a friend to tune into 103.1 FM right here on Bobo FM, particularly on Wednesday. Every day, Monday through Friday, but definitely on Wednesday, so you can hear Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And we should be coming up after that with another one as well, which I'm so tempted to tell you, but save it. We'll save it. You're going to have something for you. So we're going to pause and take a very quick break, but don't go away. And, of course, the number here in the studio is 745-2626, or you can contact us on 928-2562. Do not go away. Keep it locked right here to your favorite station, Bobo FM.
Bobo. The BBC is the world's most trusted news source. And Bobo 103.1 is where you'll find the BBC World Service.
BBC News. The world news from the BBC.
And the home of Cayman's most listened to talk shows.
That's right, folks. Everyone is telling their mama about the cold hard truth.
And welcome to Straight Talk. I'm your host, Austin Harris.
And I'm Ellio Solomon.
Across Cayman, on FM, online, and on your smart speaker. This is Bobo 103.1.
Welcome to our newsroom here in central London. We place ourselves here at a little desk right in the thick of things.
OS from the BBC.
We can catch the very latest news from our colleagues, not just in this enormous room, but also from our colleagues around the world.
I'm in the room where they're treating children.
This is a combat zone.
The situation after the typhoon is very complicated.
It was a very tense situation.
OS from the BBC.
The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo FM.
BBC News.
BBC News.
World news from the BBC. Violent clashes. Thick black smoke.
A tremendous legal victory.
Crucial elections.
Destructive wind.
A search and recovery operation.
A race against time.
An imminent threat.
Flying a drone over a rival team's training session.
Whatever is happening, wherever it's happening, catch up with the latest news bulletins from the BBC.
The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo FM. This is Bobo 103.1, powered by Health Services Authority. At Health Services Authority, they are committed to caring for you. They are Cayman's largest and longest-standing healthcare provider, offering the most comprehensive range of inpatient, outpatient, and public health services at 9 different locations across all 3 islands. Across Cayman on 103.1 FM, online, and on your smart speaker. The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo 103.1.
Hello, I'm Moira Alderson with the BBC News. President Trump has said a lot of people in Gaza are starving, contradicting remarks made by the Israeli Prime Minister on Sunday. Mr. Trump said there was real starvation among Palestinian children and we have to get the kids fed. He said there were plans to establish food centres backed by Britain and the EU.
We're going to set up food centres, and we're going to do it in conjunction with some very good people, and we're going to supply funds. And we just took in trillions of dollars. We've got a lot of money, and we're going to spend a little money on some food, and other nations are joining us. So we're going to set up food centers and where the people can walk in.
A slight easing of Israeli restrictions has again seen aid trucks entering Gaza on Monday. Israel has blamed the United Nations for delays in delivery. The Palestinian Prime Minister has said that Hamas must disarm and give up its weapons to the Palestinian Authority and cede control of Gaza to restore security. Mohammed Mustafa was speaking in New York at a UN conference on the two-state solution for Israel and the Palestinians. He urged Israel to withdraw completely from Gaza and said international forces could have a future role.
Hamas must end its rule of Gaza and hand over its weapons to the Palestinian Authority. And we stand ready to invite regional and international forces to be deployed in full coordination with the State of Palestine as a part of a stabilization and protection mission.
The Palestinian Authority is a political rival of Hamas. The former Colombian president Alvaro Uribe has been found guilty of bribing witnesses in a case in which he was accused of colluding with right-wing paramilitaries when in power. Mr. Uribe, who remains influential, faces up to 12 years in jail. He led Colombia for 8 years until 2010. President Zelensky has praised Donald Trump after he said he would bring forward the 50-day deadline that he set for Russia to end its war in Ukraine. Mr. Zelensky thanked the US leader for his focus on stopping the conflict. President Trump said he'd soon announce a new ultimatum of 12 days or fewer, after which new sanctions would come into effect. Our North America editor, Sarah Smith, says Mr. Trump sounded fed up with President Putin.
He repeated again how disappointed he is in President Putin, that every time he talks to him, he thinks that they've come to some kind of arrangement, and then rockets are fired into Kiev, often killing civilians. So he said he's actually going to reduce the 50-day limit that he gave President Putin, because he said about 10 days ago that he had 50 days before Donald Trump would institute secondary tariffs on countries that do trade with Russia. In other words, try to hurt them economically as much as he could.
World News from the BBC. Iran has warned that it will respond in a more decisive manner should the US or Israel attack it again. The Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said if Iran would react in a manner that would be impossible to cover up. His comments come after President Trump said if Iran restarted its nuclear program, the US would wipe it out faster than you can wave your finger at it. A ceasefire between Thailand and Cambodia is in effect, bringing to an end 5 days of fighting over their disputed border. Shortly before the truce was enacted, reports from both sides suggested shellfire had died down, perhaps in part because of heavy rain. The ceasefire was agreed by the Thai and Cambodian leaders at talks hosted by Malaysia. The United Nations says global hunger levels have decreased this year but are still above pre-pandemic levels. Its latest report paints a mixed picture, with a rise in food insecurity in Africa being offset by improvements in South America and Asia. Current projections suggest over 500 million people will still be undernourished by the end of the decade, almost two-thirds of them in Africa. The Italian Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni, said food insecurity often had catastrophic consequences.
When people do not have access to sufficient food or lose the means to produce it, the consequences can be catastrophic. Poverty worsens, conflicts intensify, and communities become more vulnerable to violence, terrorism, or forced migration.
Nigeria's women's football team have returned home after beating the hosts Morocco at the Women's Africa Cup of Nations final in Rabat on Saturday. The Super Falcons were greeted on the tarmac at Abuja's International Airport by traditional dancers, drummers and government officials. President Bola Tinubu has given each of the 24 players a 3-bedroom apartment. BBC News.
Opinions expressed on Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio do not necessarily reflect or represent the views of Stingray Media, its staff, or contributors. Callers to the program accept full responsibility for the views expressed. The show host and affiliates are not liable for any statements made or any harm claimed. All callers to the program indemnify Straight Talk from all claims. Offensive, defamatory, or unlawful content will not be tolerated. Be a part of the conversation by calling 745-2626. Now, here's Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio on Bobo 103.1.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Straight Talk with your host, Austin Harris, and myself, Ellio Solomon. If you'd like to get into the conversation, steer in a specific direction, whatever, give us a shout. Number to call here up in the studio is 745-2626. That's 745-2626. Or you can also text us, send us a voice message on 928-2562. And it looks like that. Going straight to the phone lines. Go ahead, caller, you're on the air. Hello.
Hey guys, how are you doing today?
Oh, we're doing good, but good to hear from you too. How are you?
Yeah, I hear the conversation there about the accident and stuff, you know, but I don't know who will fall under. I know who will fall under, but I don't want to get in hot water. the other day I was by a store about 2 months ago. And when I came out of the store, all these people were laughing. So I look around and I saw the lady in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And I went over and said, she was crying. So I asked her what happened. Believe me, she couldn't reverse the car.
Right.
That was at Foster's.
Okay.
She parked front on, and she could reverse the car. So I asked her if she had a full driver license, and she did.
No,
she did have a full driver license, and she was crying. And when I reversed the car, she wanted to give me $25. I told her it was okay. So you, on the guys, tell me, on the expert, how did she get a full driver's license?
No, you are raising a very good point, my friend, and I've heard some horror stories as to how people get their license too. I mean, I understand now that you can't even get your driver's license if you don't wear the right size skirt. So I'm only giving it to you as I got it. But all I can say to you, I'll never forget. This was many years ago, but I'm sure it hasn't changed. There's one of those little posts with that hold the light poles at Foster's, and I'll never forget a lady was in that car, and I'm watching her reverse. She reverses, she tears the side of that car up against the post, then she goes back in, tears it again. She does this like 3 or 4 times, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm having a headache. So there is definitely an issue in terms of how did some people get their license? Inquiring minds want to know.
So you know what I'm talking about then?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I've heard it too.
Okay then, buddy. That's my little party,
All right. Well, we appreciate it.
Oh, no worries. Anytime, sir.
All right, partner. Yeah, but I'm sure we heard these stories before, Austin, but I don't know. Going straight to the phone lines. Go ahead, caller, you're on the air.
Listen, I say Austin maybe misunderstood me, and I won't correct it. I was telling him 3 people were in a Honda Civic. 2 guys and a lady, a girl.
Mm-hmm.
The driver got killed. His brother is critical because it were 2 brothers, the driver and then a passenger. And then the girl, she pretty good because the girl told me that she say that and I say, I see her. She showed me her picture up in the hospital bed and everything. She don't have no broken bones. Apparently they assess her and then I find nothing broken on her, but she bruised up and pain up, can't hardly move.
Mm-hmm.
And what a guy was saying about driving, eyewitness. And if this is a lie, like they say, sure is Christ died for sinners. This is the truth, nothing but the truth. You remember when Flo were out the way in town now?
Yep.
Where they got a eyeglass place right there?
Anderson Square.
Somebody went in there one day, and they were parked up in there. And when she come out, she could not get out. She couldn't reverse out because you know what, they kind of steep. And a police, you hear what I'm saying? Police had to go get the car out for her. And we burst out to laughing. We said, well, Wahina, can you imagine? And somebody said she might be buy her license for 25 cents. I said, no, she buy it cheaper than that. She buy it for 5 cents.
Mm-hmm.
Because how could you drive? And I have a friend, not dissing her, but she drives now, and she's still reversing. It's still one of her biggest issues, and that's why I guess I never learned, because that was my big issue, because I used to reverse, but I couldn't turn because I have a problem with my neck, and I can't stay in one position too long, so I couldn't turn my neck, to look at the rear view mirror and everything, and I need to carry on silver fence up South Song.
Yeah.
So that's how I know, but me now get a license because reversing was worse for me. And I was from 1985, I was learning, and up to now when I got a license. So I do about what a man say, play them, now I see car, till they come came on, they were pushing horse and car, they were running donkey, and playing the one getting, and I know playing incidents, and like I say, is that sure is Christ died for sinner, you know what happened, but I don't want to say, playing the people get license to favoritism. And not that they were qualified for it. And they got all this tell them they got drivers and they got wheel turners. To me, good drivers do not get in accident. It's the wheel turners.
Yeah. Well, caller, thank you. Appreciate it. And yeah, I mean, I've heard all kinds of stories, and I understand that they have made some supposed changes and stuff in terms of testing, and I guess you have to dress decent. I don't know if that somehow is done because it's influencing the instructors. I have no idea. I have heard other stories that, sometimes it's went a little bit further than that. After all, the only currency is not cash. There's other ways to get some good exchange. But I have no idea. But all I can say is, based on the evidence of how some people drive, everybody has the right, I think, to ask the question on how did this particular person get their license. And not to sound too chauvinistic or misogynistic, whatever particular word they want to choose, but I think a lot of it has to do with the ladies in terms of, can't get in and out of spaces. And it seems to be the men that's more on the flying at 100-something miles an hour, regardless of what the zone is.
I have a foot.
I have a foot for the women, and just plain can't maneuver in and out with the ladies. But it is a problem, and somebody really needs to address it. To our good friend, I don't know if that falls up under Mr. Dixon, but somebody needs to deal with that in terms of these people that have their license. And to that last caller's point, if you had someone, come on, ladies and gentlemen, if you're a police officer, this is what I don't understand. My colleague talked about, well, where's a policeman? You need one. I make some excuses for police, right? Because I really try to be empathetic and said, I could be driving, but I just wasn't in that place at that time. And I want to be empathetic. But here is an example where someone is saying, listen, anyway, I got a call. Let me take this. Go ahead, caller, you're on the air. Hello?
Hello?
Go ahead, you're on the air.
Already, I can still hear Ellio talking.
Yeah, because you've got the radio on or something.
Okay. What did I call about again? Okay, I'm glad to hear that the Department of Vehicle and Licensing have made some changes or are planning to make some changes. I didn't hear anything about it, but that's a good move, and I didn't expect anything else. I have heard some real serious allegations about, persons within the department. We've seen that a number of persons within the department and outside the department have been charged for a number of offenses. But I've heard of people actually being able to take a screenshot take pictures of their cars and send it to a certain email address and just send it in and get it assessed as inspected and passed, and they can just go and pick up the paperwork and that sort of thing. So I'm glad to hear that the department is making a lot of changes. People in these islands, even our own people, sometimes still think that Cayman is so wayward and gullible and naive, not realizing that with certain behaviors, all it does is gives government ammunition to increase and upgrade their services. So, more power to whoever is doing these things. What I really called in about Ellio and Austin was that idea that you guys have of bringing on candidates that, especially the ones who weren't successful,
right,
to come on to the show and have some discussions. I think that is superb, really, really great move in my view.
Well, thank you.
And I didn't actually declare. Well, I declared, but I didn't go out for nomination day. I decided not to after all. But if you guys will have me, I'd still love to come on the show and still talk about my experience. Even that in itself of how far I went is an experience I think, would be good to have a discussion about. So have a thought about it and let me know. I think you guys know my voice.
Yeah, I think we do, but nevertheless, if you can just text us 928-2562, just text us so we can have your number. We'll reach out to you.
Okay, and I'm sorry I missed Crystal's segment there, but I think I'll go back on YouTube and have a look.
Last week, Wednesday.
Right, yes.
It was wonderful.
Listen, I can imagine he's quite an entertaining and very intellectual person. I will say that.
Absolutely.
I don't know how much time I have, but I just wanted to know if you heard the discussions this morning on Radio Cayman surrounding some of the topics. Excuse me, some of the topics on Radio Cayman. Again, we've gone back to immigration and marriages, convenience, and that sort of thing. So, that might be an interesting topic you guys want to bring up this evening too.
No, I didn't get a chance to listen. Unfortunately, in the mornings now, I'm doing a lot of other things, construction, and you name it, and I didn't get to listen. But just touch really quickly and tell us what was discussed.
Yeah, it was an interesting. Mr. Connor this morning actually started reading an article. I believe it was written at the Compass by referring to I think it was written about I don't want to say it, I'm not quite sure because I kind of caught the last end of it. But, talking about persons who have come here, migrated here to work and their experiences, I believe it was one particular person, and then there was an interview done with that person's brother, I believe, and just,
Oh, yeah. I saw that article in the Compass today. I was going to touch on it.
Yes, well, that would be a good thing for your program this evening if you guys have time. So that kind of spiraled a discussion, about persons coming to the island and working and not, wanting to settle here permanently and that sort of thing. And then that went on to, other immigration issues and concerns within the island, namely marriages of convenience and the length of time that immigration is going to change, how long you can, before you can apply for permanent residence and status and under marriage and that sort of thing. So, I'll leave you guys with that and listen to the rest of the discussion. If anything, I'll chime in.
Yeah, well, don't hesitate to call. And like I said, send us a text, 928-2562. That's 928-2562.
Will do. Thanks, guys.
All right, you're welcome.
Bye.
And again, for all of you listening, if you'd like to call into the program, it's 745-2626. That's 745-2626. Or if, talking out there in the public isn't necessarily your thing live, you can go ahead and send us a text to 928-2562. And you can also take voice messages that way as well. So I was just saying, in terms of the penultimate caller who was talking about the police taking a lady out of the car. Now, you see, as I was saying, I make a lot of good excuses, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but I make excuses for the police because nobody can be in, every place at one point in time. I think the omniscience part is for God himself. And so I make excuses. But I do have a couple of scenarios where I really can't make excuses for the police. I have my own personal one in the trash, which I'll probably say again. And on this particular one, the caller mentioned, and let me repeat, there was a lady there, and this is around the Anderson Square area where Flow used to be. And the person is apparently trying to get in and out of a parking spot. She parked in a spot and now can't get out. And the police, this is so bad apparently now. Work with me here. This is so bad that the police has to reach out and help the person. And again, I will remind you, years ago, as I said earlier, I was in the Foster's parking lot, and I'll never forget sitting and watching a lady destroy some car. And the way the car was fixed, it didn't seem like the lady fixed that car. I'm pretty sure this is a guy that fixed the car up that way, right? And I was shocked. This woman pretty much destroyed at least the right-hand side of this car on the light pole. And so that scenario sounds very much like what this lady is talking about that occurred at Anderson Square. Now, here's a police officer who sees that this situation is so sad, so pathetic, so, how can I put it, so lacking of skills that I'm assuming it's a he, the male has to go in the car in order to be able to get the lady out. Now, I would imagine it surely has to be within the remit of the police to say, excuse me, lady, show me your license. And if she is able to produce her license, to call into question whether this license was truly earned or not. And if it was supposedly quoted as earned, whether it was deserved or not. I think the officer has an obligation to ensure, because when we say that the police is responsible for traffic, let's be clear. We're not talking about clearing roadways and setting up cones. That's not what it means when it says you're in charge of traffic. It's a little bit broader than that. Like having an idiot on the road that can't drive, it's your job to take the idiot off the road. Right? I'm just giving it to you harsh because I know we're supposed to be nice. Everyone's supposed to be very courteous and say nice things about people. But listen, if there is a lady driving, and you see, this is where I have a problem, especially with the men. Because, depending on, and this is where I talked earlier on about the height of the skirt when you go to get a license. Because this is a real scenario. Nobody wants to address it. You see, but, police officer, beautiful lady, are you still able to do your job? This is my question to you. Can you still do your job, or is this a little bit difficult for you? So your job is to basically say, listen, I call into question whether you can competently drive or not. You see, because let's be clear, that lady is having difficulties driving that car and taking it out of a parking spot. But being a nice guy because maybe she's good looking, or maybe it's just because she's a lady, or maybe you just feel like being a nice guy. What happens when she kills someone or injures someone because she doesn't have the proper skills? That police officer, in my humble opinion, had an obligation to deal with that matter. Because at the end of the day, it's a situation of saying, I'm ringing my own bell here. It's a matter of simply saying, reaching, there you go. It's simply a matter of saying, I have an obligation to make sure that the streets are good. Traffic can flow. People don't get injured. People don't die. So let's take it serious, because somebody on one hand could say, come on, Ellio, it was just a lady. Women have difficulties getting their car in and out. And I just want you to understand, we're in a world where women say, I should get the same pay as a man. And I believe in all those things. And I think you should be able to drive as well, like a man. Or however you want to word it, you need to be able to drive. There has to be a certain level and competencies and skills for you to be able to drive. If you can't parallel park, it doesn't mean men should parallel park. Women don't really have to. It doesn't mean men should have to reverse, but women shouldn't really have to. No, they all have to have the same skills, because our roads need to be safe. And so at the end of the day, when a caller can say that the police officer, which I infer was a male, assists the female in getting out because she simply does not have the skills to do so, I believe that police officer had an obligation to call on that woman and say, listen, produce your driver's license. I'm not even sure if you have one. And if she produces it, he has all, not just a right, an obligation to say, I question whether you earned this license or whether you deserve the license. Something had to be done. I'll never forget a lady, won't call her nationality. I'm pulling out of a gas station. I'm on the left-hand side, about to exit. There is at least about 20 feet of space coming between me and the other side. I could turn a truck around in that area. And I'll never forget, I see the lady coming. So I'm not even moving because I'm thinking, come on, there's 20 feet, bam, right into my car. And of course, she was with her significant other. They were very nice. They obviously knew they were wrong. They jumped very quickly. They got my car fixed. I never had any problems. But the point is, she had 20 feet and still hit my car. What if somehow she had caused someone to be injured in my car? Or some kid jumped between my car, whatever the scenario is. We are talking the seriousness of people's lives potentially being injured. So when we have police officers not doing things like that, I have a problem. And again, I will mention my favorite pet peeve of when I called because some Jamaican national, which of course encouraged by a Caymanian, apparently, was throwing trash in my neighborhood and has the audacity to tell me and ask me, is this your neighborhood? Because I said, you're littering my neighborhood. Yeah, I said, this is my neighborhood. This is my country. And you're littering it. I called the police officers. And I'm going to mention these two because I take up for police officers all the time. I've had a brother that was a police officer. My dad was a special constable. I also did the same thing. I have a lot of respect for police officers. But these are police officers, as far as I'm concerned, are not doing their job. So I call them out, which of course they get 45 minutes late. And then they have to speak to him privately. Now, what's the private conversation about? And then at the end of the day, this individual even admits that he threw the trash. He wasn't told to go and collect it, which of course he couldn't. It was too far in the bush now. Didn't collect the cash. Wasn't carried downtown. Wasn't charged $25. Nothing happened when this individual threw the trash. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the sort of things that I cannot accept from the Royal Cayman Islands Police. and I'm going to mention it here again. So anyway, we did now, moving on, assuming we're getting past this particular action item of people speeding on the road, just to put closure on it, like I said, I think the police officers need to pick up the slack. I have heard a lot of horror stories. I don't like to be putting out too much rumors, but there's all kinds of arguments about sexual favors and a myriad of nonsense that I've heard over the years, not just recent, over the years insofar as what is happening in relation to driving tests and approvals, and the list goes on in Cayman. I'm sure I'm not the only fool who has heard it. It's only a question of who's going to do something about it. Got a minute before we got a minute to win it, they say. So when I come back, we're going to touch on this issue that I see here in the Compass, where they're talking about, minimum wage and people sending money home. And I read over this quite quickly. I think I read about 75-80% of it. And I'm really calling into question exactly what it was meant to achieve, because it almost seems like you were simply trying to put life and feelings behind the whole issue of minimum wage. How many seconds I have, Mr. Harris?
30.
All right. So all I'm going to say, ladies and gentlemen, is when I come back, we're going to read this particular article and see if we can make some sense of it, and see if we can touch on this issue of minimum wage. And I do want to touch on something else that Michael Miles said as well about finding the jobs that Caymanians want. So don't go away. Keep it locked right here to your favorite station, 103.1, your favorite talk show, Straight Talk.
And the phone lines are open. So help out my friend in the absence of me today, 745-2626. We'll be right back.
More Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio coming up. Be a part of the conversation by calling 745-2626. Bobo 103.1.
Insurance matters. It gives you the confidence to live life as you should, knowing you're protected. As a leading local insurer for over 25 years, Island Heritage has a consistent track record of providing best-in-class customer service with quick and efficient claims processing. This means insurance you can rely on when you need it most. The Island Heritage Way. Visit us online at islandheritageinsurance.com today to learn more about our home, contents, motor, marine, and commercial insurance products. Go on and live your life. With Island Heritage, you can.
We all work hard to one day buy the house of our dreams. Why wouldn't you protect it? With Saxon, you now have the option to get a home insurance quote online. Avoid the waiting in lines and the traffic. Simply log on to saxon.ky and click to get a quote to get started. At Saxon, we pride ourselves on providing our customers with excellent customer service and convenience. So what are you waiting for? Visit saxon.ky today from the comfort of your home or office to get your quote and protect the things you love. Saxon. Smart Insurance.
Shirts, pants, or linens. When you want them clean, just drop them off at Island Cleaners. Island Cleaners is a full-service dry cleaner, meaning you name it, they clean it. Professional shirt service, fluff and fold laundry, and more. Even drape and area rug cleaning and alterations, from quick hem jobs to resizing dresses. Island Cleaners, your one stop for everything clean. Artco Drive off Shedden Road. Ask about VIP and prepaid discounts.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
Have your engine driving like never before with Pure 93, the highest pure octane fuel in Cayman, and available exclusively at Rubis service stations. Pure 93 protects against engine knock, restores lost power and acceleration, cleans fuel injectors, intake valves, removes engine deposits, improves your fuel economy, and it meets international specification requirements for your car. Fill up with Pure 93 now and keep your engine running like new. Fuel the difference with Pure 93, available exclusively at Rubis.
At Polar Bear Air Conditioning, we believe in helping you to avoid costly mistakes and replacements. That's why we offer a quarterly maintenance program at a discounted price. You'll receive a 10% discount on all repairs, accessories, and services. Priority front-of-the-line customer status, reminders of your service, and no overtime rate for after-hours calls. Why not save money and avoid hassle with Polar Bear Air Conditioning? Need service now? Book our AC special for just $99. Book the next available technician at polarbear.ky. That's polarbear.ky.
your smart speaker. This is Bobo 103.1, powered by Health Services Authority, committed to caring for you. The views and opinions expressed on Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio do not necessarily reflect or represent the views of Stingray Media, its staff, or contributors. Callers to the program accept full responsibility for the views expressed. The show host and affiliates are not liable for any statements made or any harm claimed. All callers to the program indemnify Straight Talk from all claims. Offensive, defamatory, or unlawful content will not be tolerated. Be a part of the conversation by calling 745-2626. Now, here's Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio on Bobo 103.1.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Straight Talk with your two favorite talk show hosts, Austin Harris and myself, Ellio Solomon. It is up 5:33 up here in the studio. If you want to give us a call at 745-2626, that's 745-2626. Or you can contact us on 928-2562 if you want to send us a text or a voice message. And again, we're chatting, we were just getting off of the topic about transportation, the accidents, the metal slippers running around out there, the Honda Fits, as well as, I keep calling them metal slippers because it's like, I don't know, I'm staring poverty in the face here. But either way, it's like people driving the cars are not driving them so well and what the police should do, etc. And I'll just recap very quickly on the end that, like I said, there are certain circumstances I do my best to be empathetic to the police. You can't be in all places at one point in time, but there are clearly some circumstances where I don't understand how the police are doing their jobs. In this particular case, as one of our callers highlighted, when a police officer, most likely male, has to help a female in terms of getting cars out of the driveway, and we need to take it beyond that. If you can't drive, you're a threat to people on the road. It's going to result in an accident, and the officer there in that particular instance has an obligation, as far as I'm concerned, to do something about it. We did get a caller talking about the program today, and this is an article in the Compass that I did really scan through it. It's a bit lengthy. I definitely don't want to read all the way through this. And honestly, when I finished reading this article, at least 80% of it, I was left to be wondering exactly what was the purpose of this article. It's entitled saying, remittances came on quite quiet engine of global development. Now, I can tell you if the article is to highlight that Cayman is aiding in terms of keeping a lot of these economies alive, then I completely agree with the author. I have mentioned this as well. And if I can pull up really quickly some of the numbers that I had printed on my Facebook page in terms of some of the monies that are going out of the country as it relates to remittances. And let me find it. Bear with me. But there's a significant amount of money that leaves the country. There shouldn't be any surprise about that one. We have Jamaica, I think, is number one, somewhere in the region of $100 and something million. Could have been 175. I can't really exactly remember how much. Let me see if I can find it. Where's that information when you need it? But either way, I'm remembering off the top of my head that it was around 175 million, if my memory serves me right, in terms of how much was leaving from here to go to Jamaica. And I think it was 40-something million going from here to the Philippines. So without a doubt, let's understand that Cayman is a major contributor. But I'll just read through some of this. And it says, when Balambika Rangaraham left the comfort of her family home in Chennai, India in the late 2024, she was answering a call of duty. A skilled women's health physiotherapist working as a respectable hospital, she had long benefited from the care and stability of living with her parents. So again, this is talking about someone who is actually working with Miss Jackie Smith, great woman. And she does apparently some kind of physiotherapist service and how she's sending money home to her family in India. She actually mentions that every month this, I don't want to pronounce that name, it's too long. Let me try it. Rangaraham. I think I got that then. Every 4 months, Rangaraham saves nearly 60% of her income and sends it to India. I want you to note that. 60% of your salary going to India. And then also goes on to talk about someone else, which actually I think that name sounds very familiar to me. Again, he talks about Mr. Loxford Davis and how he sends a significant portion. I think he's saying something in the region of 30-something%. It actually does get into some of the numbers in here as it relates to how much monies are leaving the country. And I think it was saying in India, for example, that remittances was a little bit less than 5%, somewhere around 3-point-something%, but that is over $130-something billion. And that Cayman is rating, number 4 in some of these instances in terms of how much money is leaving the Cayman Islands, despite its size. In the first quarter of 2025 alone, Cayman residents sent $74.9 million in remittances via money transfer services like Western Union and MoneyGram. Jamaica received 63.6% of that total. And like I said, off the top of my head, that number was somewhere around 170-something million going to Jamaica alone, followed by the Philippines at 13.4%, Honduras 6.9%, and the United States at 3.8%. India received much smaller share of 0.2%. Now, I wanted to get on to where it was talking again about Mr. Michael Miles, or Minister Michael Miles, talking about the fact that he understands the situation affecting Caymanians, but can't allow the people to come here and work for nothing, arguably. It says, at a 9 July press briefing, Michael Miles, Minister for Cayman Employment and Immigration, defended the raise. And that is talking about going from $6 to $8.75. So Michael Miles, Minister of the Cayman Islands Employment and Immigration, defended the raise not only as a tool to lift workers out of poverty locally, but also as a matter of fairness, drawing parallels to Cayman's own history of overseas work and remittances. He asks, why would we deny our guest workers who take care of our elderly, our children, our disabled, who clean our homes, who provide security to our homes, commercial buildings and schools, and who provide janitorial services, landscaping, and construction, the right to earn a decent wage, even if it means they're using it to support their families in their own countries. Again, not that I want to harp on it, ladies and gentlemen, but I have said before that Minister Miles or anyone that gets elected in office, because honestly, the good thing about reaching a certain age in life is that I don't think we get more miserable. We just don't care now about the superficial crap anymore. Okay? And I'm just going to tell you, get past the superficial crap. Minimum wage is not going to solve the problem. If it was going to solve the problem, then don't go at $8.75. Just make it $30. And then that with all the problems would go away. It's not going to solve the problems. You solve the problems by working hard. You ever heard that Christian thing that says there's two roads, one's narrow and one's wide? The wide one is the bad road. The narrow one is the one that's less taken. The difficult roads in life is normally the right thing to do. So when you hit a road and something's easy to do and there's one that's difficult, now chances are the difficult thing to do is the right thing. Here's what the easy thing is for our politicians to do. Go down to the parliament and 11 people vote and say we're raising the minimum wage from $6 to $8.75. You can do that easily when you're not paying for it. What's the difficult thing? The difficult thing is to call the banks and say you're charging 350% more interest than they charge in the United States, but yet you ask for more. You're asking us for equity in the home. You're asking for insurance for the wife, the husband, for the dog, everything. Sitting in a room with these people and getting these rates reduced is what is difficult. And it ruins your friendship that you have with them. It'll ruin your friendship that you have with two persons at CUC when you got to negotiate with them. That is what is difficult, but that is what's going to really make the difference. Lowering electricity bills, lowering mortgages, which means at the end of the day, families can save more money. It means that you can pay less rent for the businesses who have a place, and hopefully we can do something to get some of those things passed on. So in terms of this particular article, I don't know what it is. I don't want to put anything ill on the author, but it would strike me as if somebody is trying to flesh out, humanize this issue in terms of people that are being able to send money home. And I want to stress again, I have no problem with people sending money home. They came here to work and to be able to send money home. And they're doing just that. What this article is highlighting is that just one person alone is sending 60% of their salary home. So at that rate, when you give them an additional $2.75, am I not fair to say that 60% of that will go home at least? If not all of it? But in the meantime, the supposed 2,300 and something Caymanians that you say you're caring about, they're not making 8 times their salary like the Filipino national can say or the Jamaican can say. They can't. Whatever they have to spend it here. And you're not really helping them. That is my argument. That's my argument. I'm sticking to it. If it's going to be a case that minimum wage is really going to solve the problem, then let's not half-ass it. Let's just go ahead and make it $30. Make it $30 and kill the goose. But you're not going to do that because it's not going to solve the problem. So moving on, I'm noticing here sad news as far as I'm concerned. Very shocking news that I'm seeing here on one of our favorite newspapers, CNS, Cayman News Services, giving them credit for this article that Mr. Fritz Albert McPherson, 45, who admitted possessing an illegal gun and ammunition for a very short period of time last year, is now serving a 7-year sentence. If you don't know who I'm talking about, please go and look at CNS. Can you imagine I'm encouraging people to check CNS? But I am. Because I know this person. And I just can't believe that this person's life is going to be wasting away, arguably 7 years in prison. I want to just read through this. First, Albert McPherson, again, someone's on the phone line. Going straight to the call. Go ahead, caller, you're on the air. Hello? What are you talking about? Hello? Yeah, you're on the air.
Oh, hi. I wanted to quickly interrupt Ellio there. I was thinking, if they're sending home 60% of their salary or their income,
right?
It's no wonder that we have, and we don't know how many this has happened to, and you know how these persons are here really struggling. I mean, it's a choice that they make, but if they are choosing to send home 60%,
yep.
I don't know how much they get paid on average, say per week or every 2 weeks. But if you're sending home 60%, that sounds to me like a very huge amount to send home. I would assume monthly. That is a lot in most of the countries of the immigrants that we have working here. And that means that they are deliberately putting themselves in a place of disadvantage. And I understand, you know, it's a choice that they make, and it would be a struggle. But you know, we have to get employers to address these things with the Department of Work. I don't know the solution, but it could almost come down to where the Cayman Islands could be liable for certain labor situations if things aren't done properly, because I don't like to use the word expatriates. I prefer the word immigrants. They make the decision to come here, and certain countries, their people come and they gather up in rental properties, and they overuse the resources in the rental property. So that puts landlords at a disadvantage too. So overuse wasn't the word I wanted to use, but I'm just using that right now. So they will exceed normal wear and tear on you know, furniture and that sort of thing, because it's a constant. I've advocated for residential tenancies changes for many years, and people are always sending me stories. I actually went undercover at one point just to look at places and see how things were set up and kind of do a little research with pricing and so forth. And so when we have certain immigrants come to the island where we know that the labor is affordable for Caymanians or businesses here, there's over where there's overuse of wear and tear, overuse of the facilities that they rent. They put excess pressure on the wear and tear of the amenities and appliances and so forth in the rental properties. And I've heard landlords complain many times about this very situation. You'll have 6 persons staying to a room, and right. I've had landlords saying, okay, well, I had to give these people notice because there was an agreement to have 6 people in one room. And, in the United States, lawfully, you're only allowed 2 adults per bedroom. Mm-hmm. So if you have a 3-bedroom unit, there's 6 adults can live in that unit. And the government, I do believe it's coming. It was supposed to come under the last administration, and that didn't happen. And I look forward to this present administration finally passing the amendments that the previous administration made and putting it into force, so landlords can get some relief in terms of renting their properties and so forth. But also, I've heard a lot of, if you're sending 60% of your income home, there's a lot of landlords that are not getting paid or not getting paid on time or being told, well, I didn't get all of my pay. You would be surprised on the amount of landlords that are getting told that I didn't get my pay in time. I mean, when you're working at reputable hotels on 7 Mile Beach or reputable businesses that have been in business for many, many years in the Cayman Islands, and employees are saying they didn't get paid from their business just to tell the landlord, because now they're sending more than half of their income home, right. And the landlords are being deprived of their rents. So, it is, I don't know how we're going to fix it, and I don't know if we can fix it in its entirety, but at the end of the day, we need to, I don't know if raising the minimum wage to the extent that we are is going to fix that either, but in a sense, I agree with Minister Miles. We can't work people for little and nothing either. But then, on the other hand, what's going to happen to Caymanians whose wages are not being increased?
Yeah, but the thing of it is, caller, is that you're not working the people for little or nothing.
Yeah.
I keep giving people the example, and it's a little difficult for us in Cayman to understand it. But let's say the average Caymanian is making $5,000 a month,
which we know that that's not the average.
But somewhere around there is what I heard him saying as an average, right? Yeah. Okay, well, let's just settle with 5,000.
Right.
Tell me now, how many Caymanians right now would not leave home to, instead of making 5,000, will make 40,000? Or sorry, would it be 45? 45,000. Understand that my partner says you love them Filipinos, so I don't want anybody to think that I don't like anybody. I love the Filipino nationalities. I like the Jamaicans. I have no problem with anyone, but it doesn't stop me from speaking the truth. As my good friend Arden would say, my tongue not going to church. And so the bottom line of it is, I've had people working with me, for me, who says I'm now making 8 times the amount of money I made in the Philippines. So I'm going to ask you, how many Caymanians that are making $5,000 would not leave Cayman to go to the United States to make $45,000 a month? How many?
I'm sure if they could, they probably would.
They would, because they would know that they would be in the same position, knowing that if they can make $45,000 a month for the first time in their life, they could probably own their own home in their own country within a matter of a year.
Right.
And they can't do it right now. Okay, so I'm not asking you anything. I'm telling you, many of these persons are coming here and have a wonderful opportunity. They're doing what they should do. They're saving as much as they can and sending it back home, and they're owning their own homes within less than a year. Some of them, and on this article here, she's talking about sending all the kids to private schools. They weren't going to private schools before, I can assure you.
Right.
And nobody should envy them. That's a good thing. They're improving the standard of living for their family. Okay, but while they're improving the standard of life for their family, while you're giving them 800%, an opportunity to increase their salary 800%, Why are you now going to create an inflationary position so that you can give them an additional $275 so that they can send home at minimum 60% more of that? And at the same time, all of us are going to have to face it. The jerk chicken stand, everything, all the businesses, the guy who fixes your AC, all of these people are going to up their price because they have to up their cost is increased. So your price is going to increase. And let me just tell you something about Filipino culture, just as an example, okay? We're making it sound as if, you know, this Filipino national was going to come here and rent an apartment all by themselves. And they were going to get a car all by themselves. They were never going to do that. And I don't care if you give them, and bear in mind, when this lady says she sends home 60%, she's from India. If you're making minimum wage, you're just making over $1,000. So if she's making the absolute minimum wage, that's $600 a month going home. Somehow you're surviving off $400. That's if it's absolute minimum wage right now. And all I'm simply saying, just on the culture alone, they were never going to come here and rent an apartment on their own, and they were never going. And by the way, I want to give the number again, 745-2626. All Filipino nationals listening, please call, educate us. Jamaicans, please call, educate us. They weren't going to do it. If you go back and
we have people from other nationals too that are from similar economic countries.
But they all do it at the end of the day. In their own country, they are living together same way. Right?
Yeah.
Caymanians arguably used to do the same thing. I loved Hurricane Ivan from that perspective because my entire family was in my mother's place. Everything was hunky-dory. We washed clothes together and talked until the electricity came on. Everybody went their separate ways. But all I'm simply saying is I don't have a problem with working to try to reduce the cost of living, but let's do it the right way. It's not about just giving a handout for an additional $275. And somebody can live a better life in the Philippines or a better life in Jamaica while the Cayman, at the end of the day, economy is only getting more inflated. What we need to do is tackle the real problems, lowering the cost of electricity, lowering the cost of the mortgage, etc. That's my argument.
Well, you know, Ellio, I see your points, and I agree with you because you know how it goes. You know, there can be two sides to a story. So I see your points, and they're all legitimate. And I agree with you in certain degrees. And on the other hand, you know, while that is happening, I believe it's depriving Caymanians from getting ahead too, because now Caymanian businesses have to meet that demand. Caymanians, we know, I believe from my background and research that the average pay for most Caymanians is around $3,500 per month, right? Mm-hmm. And traditionally, Caymanians lived as we lived, as you used the example just now, because it was our way. It wasn't necessarily because of those same types of economic backgrounds, but we lived as we lived. But if someone can intentionally and deliberately come here, and like you said, they come with that intention of they're not going to rent an apartment solo or rent a car or buy a car solo or whatever. They come with an intention to live, and what I get to understand with some of the cultures also is it's a friend thing. They come from villages or communities, and so they all find jobs for one another. Like I was saying on the other two talk shows this morning, today. I was given an article with a national. I won't say what nationality it was on the air, but it was going around on social media. Mm-hmm. And she was saying on her thing. I'll look for it and maybe send it to you guys by text. That she came to Cayman, and when she came to Cayman, she came with the intention that she was going to bring her whole family here eventually. Yep. And she had posted a picture and showed that she was at the airport receiving the rest of her family, and it was a number of people. And this I surely believe, and this is why I was saying the Cayman Islands should be a transient, and it should be marketed or noted, get employers to realize we are not going to be where everyone wants to come and settle, because geographically we cannot do it. We don't have the resources, we don't have the land space, but we have to let them know this is not how it's going to work. You can't come here and think, oh, when I get there, I'm going to be there permanently, and then I'm going to bring my whole family, because now you're bringing 6 and 7 other people. And I don't mean to sound prejudiced or racist or biased or anything, because everybody that knows me knows I'm far from that. I know a lot of people in different races and cultures, and I'm close. You know, I'm friendly with a lot of different people, but at the end of the day. I try to explain to them too. It's not sensible to think you're going to be here forever.
Yeah. Well, what I'm going to say there is, to me, the fundamental things to look at is to understand that somebody is getting an 800% increase in their pay, their opportunities going back home. The Caymanian that gets the same minimum wage doesn't have that. He has to survive here.
Opportunity, yes.
And I don't have a problem with somebody wanting to come here and bring their family. I would be doing the same thing. If I found out that the United States was going to give me an 800% increase on my salary, I would try to get my family over there too, right?
Yes.
So this is where our problem with our politicians, who just want to exacerbate the situation and make it just worse. We're just about to have to go on a break, but go ahead.
Yeah, we have to let them know that Cayman cannot sustain that type of mindset, that thinking. We just have to put it out there and let them know, you know.
Caller, we'll take you when we come back from the break. Thanks for calling again. Greatly appreciate it. We're going to pause and take a very quick break, but don't go away. Keep it locked right here to your favorite station, Bobo 103.1 FM.
Yeah, we just got about 15 seconds remaining. Again, the phone lines are open, 745-2626, or you can send us a WhatsApp message at 928-2562. As my colleague has been saying, text or audio note. Keep it locked. There'll be more Straight Talk next.
Bobo.
The BBC's From Our Own correspondent.
In today's Russia, no one is allowed anywhere near the political stage if they pose a serious challenge to Vladimir Putin.
Stories and reflections from our reporters around the world.
There is a major sense of insecurity here.
More people are coming in from Sudan every day.
From Our Own correspondent from the BBC.
The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo FM.
How can we understand the world better?
The BBC World Service is a window onto the wider world.
The vantage point from which to survey a new horizon.
News, reports, and analysis from around the world.
Stories we think matter.
Different people from different societies.
We get to the heart of global issues.
News, stories, and global perspectives from the BBC World Service.
The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo FM. The BBC is the world's most trusted news source. And Bobo 103.1 is where you'll find the BBC World Service.
BBC News.
The world news from the BBC.
And the home of Cayman's most listened to talk shows.
That's right, folks. Everyone is telling their mama about the cold hard truth.
And welcome to Straight Talk. I'm your host, Austin Harris.
And I'm Ellio Solomon.
Across Cayman, on FM, online, and on your smart speaker. This is Bobo 103.1. This is Bobo 103.1, powered by Health Services Authority.
At Health Services Authority, they are committed to caring for you. They are Cayman's largest and longest-standing healthcare provider, offering the most comprehensive range of inpatient, outpatient, and public health services at 9 different locations across all 3 islands.
Across Cayman on 103.1 FM, online, and on your smart speaker. The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo 103.1.
Hello, I'm Moira Alderson with the BBC News. The former Colombian president, Alvaro Uribe, has been found guilty of bribing witnesses in a case in which he was accused of colluding with right-wing paramilitaries when he was in power. Mr. Uribe led Colombia for 8 years until 2010. Our South America correspondent is Ione Wells.
These charges date back to 2012, when Alvaro Uribe accused a left-wing senator of fabricating links between him and right-wing paramilitary groups involved in Colombia's armed conflict. Uribe claimed the senator was pressuring jailed fighters to testify against him, but the Supreme Court dismissed his case and instead began investigating Uribe. The paramilitary groups in question, active from the 1980s, fought Marxist guerrillas like the FARC, often with extreme violence. During his presidency, Uribe led a hardline campaign against the FARC and drug cartels.
President Trump has said that a lot of people in Gaza are starving, contradicting remarks made by the Israeli Prime Minister on Sunday. He said there were plans for food centres, also backed by the EU and Britain, where people could walk in.
People are screaming for the food in there. They're 35, 40 yards away, and they won't let them because they have lines that are set up. And whether they're set up by Hamas or whoever, but they're very strict lines, so we have to get rid of those lines. But we're going to be getting some good, strong food. We can save a lot of people. I mean, some of those kids that's real starvation stuff. I see it. And you can't fake that.
A slight easing of Israel's blockade has again seen aid trucks entering Gaza on Monday, but the health ministry said another 14 people had starved to death in the past 24 hours. President Zelensky has praised Donald Trump after he said he would bring forward the 50-day deadline he set for Russia to end its war in Ukraine. President Trump said he'd soon be announcing a new ultimatum of 12 days or fewer, after which new sanctions would come into effect. An exasperated Mr. Trump said every time a peace deal took shape, the Russian leader would start lobbing missiles at Ukraine. The Palestinian Prime Minister has said Hamas must disarm and give up its weapons to the Palestinian Authority and cede control of Gaza to restore security. Mohammed Mustafa was speaking in New York at a UN conference on a two-state solution for Israel and the Palestinians. He said the conference also had a message for Israel.
There is a path to peace and regional integration. It will be achieved through our independence, not our destruction, through the realization of our rights, not their continued denial, that Palestinians are not condemned to perpetual occupation and exile, and Palestinians and Israelis are not doomed to be at eternal war.
You're listening to World News from the BBC. Iran has warned that it will respond in a more decisive manner should the US or Israel attack it again. The Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said if the attacks were repeated, Iran would react in a manner that would be impossible to cover up. Earlier, President Trump said that if Iran restarted its nuclear program, the US would wipe it out faster than you can wave your finger at it. A ceasefire between Thailand and Cambodia has come into effect, ending 5 days of fighting over their disputed border. Shortly before the truce began, reports indicated that shellfire had died down, perhaps in part because of heavy rain. Jonathan Head reports from Bangkok.
After a bitter war of words, it took only 2 hours of talks for the Prime Ministers of Thailand and Cambodia to agree to a ceasefire. Much of the credit goes to the patient diplomacy of their neighbour Malaysia, which hosted the talks. But the speed with which they settled their differences is almost certainly down to the intervention of President Trump, who on Saturday warned both countries to stop fighting or he would suspend trade talks. Implementing the ceasefire will be challenging, with thousands of heavily armed soldiers confronting each other along a forested border and nationalist sentiment inflamed on both sides.
There's been widespread looting in the Angolan capital, Luanda, as protests continue against the rising cost of fuel. Videos on social media showed large plumes of smoke and people running off with items from shops. On Monday, taxi companies began a strike, angry at the government's decision to raise heavily subsidised gasoline prices by 10 cents per litre. Firefighters across southern Europe have been battling blazes as a deadly heatwave enters a second week. More deaths have been reported in Turkey, with around 20 villages evacuated. In neighbouring Bulgaria, emergency services are fighting more than 160 wildfires. BBC News.
Views and opinions expressed on Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio do not necessarily reflect or represent the views of Stingray Media, its staff, or contributors. Callers to the program accept full responsibility for the views expressed. The show host and affiliates are not liable for any statements made or any harm claimed. All callers to the program indemnify Straight Talk from all claims. Offensive, defamatory, or unlawful content will not be tolerated. Be a part of the conversation by calling 745-2626. Now, here's Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio on Bobo 103.1.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Straight Talk with your two favorite talk show hosts, Austin Harris and myself, Ellio Solomon. Looks like we got a call. Going to go straight to the phone lines. Go ahead, caller, you're on the air.
Hi, good evening. I'm just calling to weigh in on the conversation that I heard you guys having earlier on.
Yeah, can you just turn the radio down in the background or something? There's some feedback.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. You talking about the minimum wage discussion? Hello?
We lost her.
Gone.
I think she turned down the radio and turned off her phone in the process.
Yeah, well, either way, we encourage you to call back. Not a problem. Feel free to do so. Again, the number to call is 745-2626. That's 745-2626. Or if you want to text or send a voice message, you can contact 928-2562. Not calling. What's up? What did I say?
Text.
Oh my God.
That's all right.
Yeah, anything. One of those. You can send
like texting.
You can send an SMS as well, but yeah, you can text us in WhatsApp is what I mean. I don't know anybody using anything else except that WhatsApp now, pretty much.
That's right.
But either way, 928-2562. So let's walk through this, right? Because honestly, I that caller here, I guess she was going to make an input. I look forward to hearing from it. So call back 745-2626. But let's be clear. If you and I came here and got a call, going straight to the phone lines, go ahead, call here on the air.
Hi, good evening. It's me again. Sorry about that.
It's me again, John. Go ahead. Yeah.
I'd just like to weigh in on your topic.
Feel free.
I appreciate you standing up for the truth regarding that us expats have to save when we come here, and that's one of our greatest desires and ambition because we have it hard back home, etc., etc.
Right.
And that's one of the greatest motivations why we come here to the Cayman Islands. And the next thing is, I see a great division within the Cayman community, and I see a lot of homelessness amongst Caymanians. And I would encourage Caymanians to get together and share what they have with their family members in terms of dwelling, etc. A Caymanian would have a 5-bedroom house, and they'd want to keep it to themselves. Mm-hmm. And I would encourage them to share.
Meanwhile, you have a brother that doesn't have anything.
Yes, and you'd have, a Filipino or a Jamaican would have a 1-bedroom, and you'd have 6 of them in there, and they're willing to share. Mm-hmm. They'll eat from one pot. And then you have, a Caymanian coming across you, asking you for help as an expat, and they have their rich family member, out there refusing to help or scorning them or shunning them. This is just my opinion now.
Agreed.
Feedback from what I've seen, and it's heartbreaking. I'm married to a Caymanian, and one day we got up and we did 60 police records, 60 resumes, 60 copies of my passport, Jamaican passport, 60 copies of his Caymanian passport, and when we dropped them off at the same employment agencies that were seeking employees, they were calling me the expat with the paper that the Caymanian gave me, the right to work. Mm-hmm. And that was very frightening for me. They weren't giving the Caymanian a chance.
Right.
And these were Caymanians who were hiring, you understand?
Yep.
And I would encourage the Caymanian community to give their people a chance as well. And it's not only our fault, the expats, so they should stop blaming us. Mm-hmm. They're the ones who are marrying us, giving us the jobs, renting us the rooms, paying us, and doing all of this. We aren't doing it on our own.
Correct.
And I would encourage them to share with their people. Caymanians are not helping up Caymanians as how they should help them up. I've watched my husband suffer for so many years as a Caymanian. I've watched my kids as Caymanians have it hard on this rock. And I'm afraid to even say it, but I will. I have lived such a good life and have to be helping up my husband as a Caymanian, and it's frightening. Mm-hmm. So Caymanians out there who are hearing me, help your brother, help your sister, help your relatives, because the ball is in your court.
Yes.
You have the power. Do not blame expats. You are not the one who is doing it. You have the power. Take charge of your country. Get together and help each other. We are just doing the work because you give us the work. We are just saving the money because we work for it. We didn't steal it. We didn't hold you up at ransom. We are just working hard for it. The benevolence that we show each other by sharing residence and so on and so forth is just that we have to live. Yes, and then some of these Caymanians, they because they fall into these deep depressions, they're on addictive substances, and then some of them fall into mental health. They go through chemical imbalances. The family turn their back on them. They don't have any support. Some of them end up in prison as a safe haven, and then it just is like a snowball effect from there, and then the pride and the ego gets involved, and the family start to, just turn their back on them completely. And I'd encourage you, if you have a family member that is in this position, don't turn your back, because it only gets worse. And at the end of the day, every human being only needs love. Love each other. Caymanians, put the pride, the ego aside, and get together and stand firm. As an expat, what I think is destroying the Caymanian community is the division. You guys need to come together. Come together and be strong. Thank you for having me, Austin.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
You're welcome.
Thank you
You're
for
welcome.
calling in.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
And, let me just say this, ladies and gentlemen. I thank that caller, and this is Ellio, by the way. My friend Austin is the one with the hoarse throat today. But I just want to say, thank that caller for her comments. And it reminds me, and I've said it here on this program before, until Caymanians can start acting that as if we are in a foreign country, we're doomed. We have to start looking out for each other. This is why I said, you think I'm going to blame a Filipino for coming here or a Jamaican from coming here and having a better life than they have back home and not want to bring their family members? Who's not going to want to do that? Of course you want to do it. And how can I blame them? But we have to start taking care of each other. And it starts in part as well with what the things that our minister is saying. So I want to go back to what I was going to say just before that caller called in, which kind of just chimes with that. Let me just tell you something. If I was a Jamaican or a Filipino and I come here and I find a way that I can shack up with a couple of people and therefore reduce my rent to $375, and I can get my little groceries that I can survive. I got my little, I do this and I'm not a Filipino. Get my little lentil beans and the list goes on. I can live with $150 worth of groceries. And let's just say I'm able to send home $500 or $600. You really think that I'm going to change that? No, I am focused 100% on building my home in the Philippines, sending my kids to a good school, blah, blah, blah. And if you give me an $800 increase, I'm still sending it home. Maybe I'll buy 2 beans instead of 1. Maybe I'll increase a little bit of something. But let's make it clear to Caymanians and make it clear to the minister. You give me an $800 increase, I'm not going to rent some apartment by myself. I'm not doing it. I am focused, as I should be, as a good parent, as a good community citizen, on saving as much money as I can, just like the Rangara Ram, whatever her name is, that's saying I want to send 60% of my money home. And if you give me an increase, you're going to find that it might be 75% increase that I'm sending home. But let's be clear, when the person comes here that they're technically getting an 800% increase on their salary, they benefit. And a little thing that looks like they're losing here, they're not losing. They wouldn't be here if they're losing. They're here because it's better. They can send money back home. Read the Compass article. That's what they're saying. They can send their kids to private school. They can build a home. They can do things by working here that they couldn't do back home. But what about the Caymanian now? Can he send it back home? Can he build a house back home? No, this is his home. This is all he has. And so this is all nonsense when you have the minister talking about, oh, we can't let these people come here and suffer. Suffer is your own people. And you know what I want to say to the minister? He said the other day that he was going to put the provisions in place to ensure that these Caymanians could find the jobs that they want. Not even the jobs that they need, the jobs that they want. Well, you know what I want to tell him? Put your money now where your mouth is. And nobody has asked me to do this. I can do it on my own. Donna Mae Bush, that worked for the government, needs her job back. She wants her job. She needs her job back. Show that you are an action man and get her job back. Put money where your mouth is now. Get her job. Sterling Dwayne worked for Radio Cayman. You say you can provide jobs for Caymanians for the jobs that they want, the jobs that they need. He needs a job. Give him back his job. Let's see how long that's going to take now. Let's see where the government's going to do. What are they going to do about that? Or is he just a lot of lip service? Because here are Caymanians right in front of you. They did a noble deed by running for office, asking the public to vote for them to serve the people. They weren't successful. They need their job back. give them their job back. And we waiting for the minister now. I want to make sure somebody tell the minister what Ellio just said on the radio. I know at least 2 people that need their job back. And they're in the government now, you know. Because remember now, when he talked about people coming home from with scholarships, he talking about even the private sector. That he can get them the job that they want. We're not even asking you for the private sector. We're asking you for what is within your, what sphere of influence. Government, you up in the government. Get the people their job back. Donna Mae Bush needs her job back. Sterling Dwayne needs his job back. So let's see if by Friday the good little minister can have that. No, you're not going to have that, ladies and gentlemen, because you know what? Just like the lady who just called in, what we have in Cayman is a bunch of Caymanians that will sit there and they will lament about how this Filipino suffering, how this Jamaican suffering, and they will crap all over their own people. Their own brother don't have no place to live, and they're not taking care of him. But they're going to have that Filipino wife and they bring all her family and everybody got to come down here. Just shoot it like it is. Huh? They crap all over their own. Special high-intensive training, that's what they do to their own. Crap all over them. And the brother need a place to stay, but they're going to tell you how he's a retard. I don't know what's wrong with that brother there. But yet you can bring them from a foreign country. You don't know them from Adam. You can bring their family, their grandmother, everybody come in here and you sitting and jolly at the table, look like you can't even speak the language, like an idiot. But at the same time now, you got to minister with the same argument. You can't let people come here, come suffer. But yet you got Caymanians here suffering. I said Dwayne Sterling need his job back. Donna Mae Bush need her job back. All of these people who just ran in the election, left their job, they need their job. Put your money where your mouth is. You say you can put provisions and guarantee that these Caymanians can get the job, not the ones that they need, the jobs that they want. I'm asking you, and I'm asking you to go to what they want. I'm saying the people need a job. Minister, get them a job. But no, you're not get that. All you're going to get is a bunch of foreign national loving people, and I want people again to understand, I ain't not got nothing. I grew up with Jamaicans, and I grew up with Hondurans. In fact, I'm half of one of them. And I'm probably half of both. And as my colleague would say, boy, he love a Filipino. I love all people, but my love for people don't somehow tamper me that I can't tell the truth. I know what the truth is. And I am telling you, as many Filipino friends that I have, as many Jamaican friends that I have, you give them $100 increase and see what happened. See what happened. The money going back home, as it should. Because you know what? The majority of them do not intend to stay here. They intend to go back home. And nothing wrong with that either. So they're going and putting all the provisions, they're putting everything in place so that when they go back home, they can have a nice, sweet life. And nothing wrong with that either. It's only these fools that we have up inside here talking about God do X, Y, and Z. Look out for your own people. So there, Minister, what time it is now? 6:20 up here in the studio. People need their job back. Not one, they need their job back. Sterling Dwayne needs his job back. Right there on the radio. Need his job back. Donna Mae Bush, working in the government, GIS or whatever they're calling it now, needs her job back. Get her job back. And all the other candidates that ran in this election that wasn't successful, get them a job too. Start with your own. Just like the Jamaican lady just called in, quite rightly saying, make sure and take care of our own first. So now, moving on. I see that I don't think I have to go back over this article here about this Ram Garan and the list goes on. I don't want to talk about this minimum wage one. People keep pushing me to do it. They're pushing me to do this often. I'm trying to calm off with this thing here. But this young man here, I just need to mention it because I know his face. We got a caller. Going straight to the phone lines. Go ahead, caller, you're on the air.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, sir.
Ah, boy. I see you putting it down today, Mr. Sullivan. I'm certain that the message will definitely get to the minister, but you're 100% right.
Yeah.
Your analysis is spot on. I mean, we can't say we can do this for expats, but we can't do it for our own, particularly those who nobly put themselves up for office. So I would support you in that respect. But there was one interesting point that you highlighted which triggered me to ask the relevant questions at the relevant time, which is the monies that are sent out out of the country. Obviously, I'm going to be asking for a parliamentary question as to what is the estimated amount for last year and this year, at the end of this year, and compare it to what it will be next year. This is planning for the economics of things to see whether or not the monies that are leaving the country would have increased, which would support your theory.
Yes.
Because, I mean, if more money just goes out, then it really hasn't affected the way we think it needs to be affected. Like my sister said when she called in, many of these people make the choice to make those sacrifices, not that they're being treated the worst in the world. It's not the Cayman way. But I must say, though, most times we are focusing on the work permit holder. And I do think that we have to recognize there is a small percentage of Caymanians who are on minimum wage, which will benefit. And the number of people on minimum wage now that are Caymanian is that number due to the fact that maybe some people didn't want to take those jobs at that rate. So the Caymanian context may increase. I'm not trying to flip both sides, but you have some good arguments. Great show. So sorry that Austin's lost his voice. I hope he feels better soon. I was enjoying the show.
He will. Thank you very much. And I'll just encourage you, if you talk about looking at the numbers, because that's a great idea. Look at the numbers now. Let's see what happens after minimum wage. But we can also go back perhaps and look at the numbers before they introduce the $6 minimum wage too.
Yeah, well, that's the idea, because the minimum wage intention is, as per the government, is the 1st of January. So even if I ask the question, say, at the end of January, they can still give you the numbers for money sent out of the country within the year 2025, as well as just 1 year before that, just to give some context, 2024 and 2025, and then it's examined again at the end of 2026. But it's obviously a very long-term post-analysis that always constantly needs to be done so we can, I mean, to be honest with you, they should have a projected idea already.
Yeah.
Because it's going to affect the revenue, and the government will possibly get more on because you have to spend a government fee on a certain amount of monies that are remittances. Maybe it's time to consider.
I know you're going to be saying that a little bit tongue-in-cheek because you know this government not got an SPS ready yet. You're asking plenty.
God bless you, my brother. I look forward to talking to you tomorrow.
Right, take care.
Okay, bye.
What do we got now? Is another call? 5 minutes. 5 minutes left up here in the studio. Number to call, 745-2626. Or you can contact us on 928-2562. And as my colleague would say, what's up? Send us a text on WhatsApp. Let's be clear. But either way, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank all of our callers, all of the persons who participated. But again, I really appreciate the lady calling in. She's saying I'm a foreign national, but I believe she's married to a Caymanian. But either way, I want persons to know if you're a foreign national, you can contact this program too. I have no issue. No issue at all. Because at the end of the day, I am pretty confident in what I'm saying. Let me just make people know that clear that I am not sitting here talking about something that I read about in a book. You can't say you sat with more Filipinos than me, or you have sat with more Jamaicans than me. No, you can't say it. It hasn't happened. Or even my friend at Old Dark 30. It can't happen. Okay? I know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm telling you, I wouldn't be doing anything different than them. If you gave me a chance to go to the United States and make 8 times the pay that I'm making, I'm going tomorrow. Quick o'clock. And I have no problem to shack up with 4, 5, 6 people. Reduce the rent. Reduce the food. And I send in every single dollar I can send to Kim. And I send it. Because as old people say, this is where my navel string buried. I send it right back here to Cayman to make my family life better and to have something ready so that when I ready to relax on the hammock, I got something to do. So I don't know why I would expect anything different from a Filipino or from a Jamaican or from a Honduras or Indian. Nothing different I'm going to expect. This is a common sense thing. And if you're not common sense, go out there with the people and mix and mingle. So I don't know who the minister say he's looking out for. I have no idea who he's looking out for. But I can end the program, as I just said. You talk and you made the promise. You can make it so that the young people coming home can get the jobs that they want. And I ain't even asking you to go for want, because want's a big stretch. I'm asking you for need. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks put 17 years on Radio Cayman. He only left as a sacrifice to serve this country. Give the man his job back. And it's the same thing with Donna Mae Bush. She needs her job back. And all of the other persons who ran and took sacrifices, make it the government's aim, all of those persons. Don't victimize them by saying they can't serve on the board, as I'm hearing. No, do the reverse. Do what the Jamaican lady who just called in. Look out for your brother. Be our brother's keeper. Go out there and get every one of those people who took the sacrifices in this election. We had Crystal Gomez sitting here the other day. Bright, intelligent young lady. Very learned in marketing. Why she don't have a job? We should have people calling her to give her a job. I'm putting it on the minister and the government. Put your money where your mouth is. Talk is cheap. Action is invaluable. Nonsense. We want Crystal Gomez in a job tomorrow, by Friday. We want Donna Mae Bush in a job by Friday. Yeah? And we want Sterling doing a job by Friday. No loss on me, because when it doesn't happen, Minister, it's just to prove that what you and the rest of the government is talking is nothing but lip service for the people of this country. Lip service. Nonsense. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a good discussion. I want to thank you all very much for calling into the program. And my colleague here is a little bit sick and under the weather today, but he's right here with us nevertheless. And I want to thank those persons who even called and given us some remedies. And just before I leave, I just want to remind persons as well for the summer, for those persons who are interested in something to do, FC International, starting on August 11th all the way up until the 15th, August 11th to the 15th, between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. Boys and girls ages 4 to 6 can participate in the football. You get free lunch, you get free T-shirt, all kinds of stuff. So get your kids out there doing something positive outside of the games. Do something positive outside. How much time I go? 5 seconds. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to your Two Talk show host, Austin Harris, myself, Ellio Solomon. See you right here tomorrow on
the home of the BBC World Service, the most trusted news source in the world. This is Bobo 103.1. The following commercial messages are brought to you exclusively by Stingray Media.
K-Man, Eunice is here, the island's newest move-in and storage solution.